Hello. In this video, we're just going to do a really quick introduction to the ESP32. And once you download the IDE, the Arduino IDE, you can click on this button over here and open it up, and you'll get this screen right here. So this is bare minimum. Now the way the Arduino IDE works is unlike Robot C, where you have your main program running things, main is actually here, but it's in the background. You don't see it. And what main does, it first calls this function setup. So whatever you want to call just once, you put in setup, the function setup, and then you put the rest of your stuff in loop. And it just, main will just keep calling loop indefinitely. So whatever you have in loop will just keep getting called over and over again. So obviously then you could have other functions besides loop that loop calls. Once this is set up, of course, you want to make sure that you have the correct board selected, right? So you want to go down here. Whoops. And I just selected the wrong board. Right, so we'll go down here, and you want to select ESP dev module. Okay, and right, ESP dev module, and then you want to have the board plugged into USB port, and then just make sure that that's showing that that's connected. Okay, now another nice thing here is you do have this help button, and you can go to reference, and there's all kinds of, you can get help on all the different functions and structures and whatnot. And you can also go to learning. There's all kinds of tutorials. There's built-in examples. So for instance, if we look at Blink, right, it explains that. What if you want to look at the hardware that you might use for that, there's a diagram here. So our ESP looks a little, 32 looks a little different, but we're going to have a resistor. In this case, you can see orange, brown. So that's a 320 a 330 resistor, and that's going to be connected to pin 13. Goes through positive side of the LED, and then you have the flat side that's going to connect up to the ground. So if we look at that program right here, then the program basically, pin mode assigns the pin 13 as an output, a digital output, and then it's basically in loop. It just calls it over and over again. It turns it on and turns it off. Turns it on, waits a second, turns it off. And so I actually have that running now. Let's see. Okay. So I just bring this up a little bit so you can see it. So you can see his 13 is going over to one side of the resistor. There's the orange, brown. That's a 330 resistor. The gold means it's plus or minus 5%. And then this comes over to here and goes into the LED on the plus side. And then the negative side, there's the flat side right over here. That's on this column, and that goes into ground. And you can see it's just flashing off, once on, second on, second off. Okay, so another program we might look at, I just made a few modifications to the Blink program, and you can see in this case, I also put in serial.begin because I want to print stuff to the serial port. Okay, whoops. So what we can see here is we have this loop, I equals 1 to less than or equal to 20, I plus equals 2. That means that it's going to be incremented by 2 each time through the loop. So we'll go through 1, 3, 5, and so on up to 19. Then 21 will be greater than 20, so then it will finish at that point, and then just loop will have it start again. And I just have the delay set to 100 times I. And whoops, so Yeah, I have a touch screen, but Arduino doesn't like touch screens for some reason. So this is actually a mistake here, right? Because I'm just printing out the count, which isn't the number of seconds. So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to take this line out. I'm going to make this print ln, which just means after it prints that, it goes down to the next line. And let me just get rid of this statement here. Okay, so now I'm just going to compile this. So to do that, well, I can just download it and compile at the same time. So I'll go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to pause the machine because okay, so that's downloaded, and let me just switch to my camera. So you can see that it flashes fast at first, and then gradually longer and longer time periods, gets up to about 2 seconds. And but what I want to show you now is how you can print out or show the serial port. So just go up over here to the top, this little button, serial monitor, and just have to make sure the baud rate is correct. So now you can see the counts as this loop goes through. Right, so it'll get to 19, and then it will reset, and it's going to go faster now because the delays are shorter. But the way I wanted to show you this so you can see that you can do a serial.print, and then you can just open up your serial monitor. So like if you want to print out values to see what's going on as you run your program, you can do that. Okay, so that's just a real quick introduction to using the ESP32.